Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to ThinkView. I'm Casper. So, in today's video, I got two exciting things to talk about. First, the Zenbook S14 has been completely redesigned. The chassis is CNC cut from one block of aluminum. And secondly, under this ultra-thin chassis is the latest Intel Core Ultra 250AV processor. And those laptops equipped with the new Intel CPU are expected to be one of the most power efficient. That's why when I first saw the Zenbook S14, I thought to myself that, oh, this laptop must run cool because it was so thin. Plus, with the Intel Lunar Lake inside, I bet this battery life would be top-notch. So, without any further ado, let's dive into the actual experience, shall we? Alright, when it comes to performance, there's usually a big gap between what CPU manufacturer offers and what will actually come to the final product. However, both the Dell XPS and the Zenbook S14 running the Intel Lunar Lake have a maximum power draw of around 37 to 38 watts. This suggests that Intel keep a tight control over power consumption on the end product this year. The CPU performance of this processor isn't extraordinary and even fall behind the AMD Ryzen AI 300 series in both single-core and multi-core performance. And even Intel has emphasized that this is their most power-efficient x86 processor that they have ever made. And their own benchmark show it doesn't outperform the AMD Ryzen 300 series in multi-core tasks. So the thing that I'm looking forward to is the power efficiency, or in other words, how good is the battery life. Here's the graph showing the power consumption while I was doing office tasks, including writing content, running 3 office apps, and opening 5 different browser tabs. You can see that the power usage stayed mostly under 5 watts, which is a clear improvement over the previous x86 processor from both Intel and AMD. This is because Intel has separated the E-core to their own separated area, so that if the task isn't too demanding, the system will prioritize to use the E-core for processing. Therefore, it doesn't need to pump much juice into the P-core anymore, hence it will have to save power. However, when I open something new like an additional tab on my browser, the P-core will be pushed to work, causing the power consumption to spike up around 50 watts before quickly dropping down again. I also ran an overnight simulation of office tasks, and here's the power consumption chart. And it consumes just 2 to 3 watts most of the time, but sometimes it spikes up to 50 watts. So it's not perfectly power efficiency yet. But how about the battery life? To test battery life, I used automatic ThinkView standard test, which applied to all laptop review on the channel. I set the screen brightness to 250 nits, the refresh rate at 60 Hz, the performance mode to standard, and turning off all the power saving feature. Under this condition, the Zenbook S14 lasted up to 6 hours and 30 minutes. I would say that it's decent, but nothing too impressive. If you want 10 hours of battery life, you will need to lower your screen brightness to 65% or about 150 nits. And in this case, the laptop would last up to 9 hours and 43 minutes. But 150 nits of brightness is only suitable for indoor use or in dim lighting condition. Again, decent, but not too impressive. On the flip side, the Intel Core Ultra 250AV packed a powerful integrated GPU, while on the Dell XPS 13 it was too thin to take full advantage of the Arc 140V. The Asus Zenbook S14 does a great job. Its performance is even 50% better than the AMD Radeon 890M. In real gaming tests, Far Cry 6 run at a higher FPS than the AMD graphic card in the Vivobook S14 at around 50 FPS. Similarly with control, the Zenbook S14 gives a noticeable better FPS, closely aligning with the benchmark score. I also played several demanding games like Honor and Apex Legends in Full HD at lower setting, and the experience was very impressive. I wouldn't have thought that an Ultrabook could handle these games so well. However, for some VRAM heavy games like Halo Infinity, which require at least 4GB of VRAM, the Zenbook S14 only managed to score 40 FPS. And for newer titles like Black Myth: Wukong, which lack AI feature like frame generation, the FPS was just around 40. On the other hand, the AMD Radeon 890M can take full advantage of FSR and frame generation technology and can score up to 120 FPS. For esports title like Valorant though, the Zenbook S14 performed great, reaching up to 250 FPS. Overall, the gaming performance on Ultrabook had reached a whole new level. In terms of temperature, the chip runs cool during gaming session. However, the space around the exhaust vent gets quite hot. Touching them for more than 10 seconds will make you want to put your hand away. But that's what happens if you have an aluminum body, as it passively dissipates heat across the surface. Thankfully, the palm rest area doesn't heat up. Although that we have talked a lot about gaming and performance, I don't want you to think that this is a gaming laptop by no means. I explain the performance and capabilities so you can understand that what this machine and its hardware can do. But fundamentally, this is still an ultrabook, or you could call it a high-performance ultrabook. It can handle gaming, basic video editing, and graphic design. But when used as a regular ultrabook, it stays very cool and quiet, with nothing to worry about. Now, let's talk about the design. This year, Zenbook S14 has undergone a complete makeover compared to the previous Zenbook model. The cuts are cleaner, resulting in a device that's even thinner and lighter than the MacBook Air M3. Recently, I see quite a lot of people with their Zenbook at the coffee shop working, and with this new upgrade, I think we'll see even more of them. But however, there's one minor complaint is the HDMI port. Just look at it. You can clearly see that the look of this HDMI does not really match the whole chassis design. As for speaker, this is where the Zenbook shines. When it comes to audio system on the Windows laptop, there is only two brands that stand out for investing in high quality sound: Surface from Microsoft and Asus laptops. The Zenbook S14 has loud, crispy, and detailed sound, unlike flat and muddy audio found in most ultrabooks. Another big plus is the keyboard. It feels amazing to type on. It has a deep key travel, no hand fatigue even after a long typing sessions, and the attractive glass-coated trackpad is very pleasing to use. It even has an embedded touch control for adjusting volume, brightness, and even media playback speed. Also, last but not least, the Zenbook line this year also comes with a new 65-watt charger, which is compact and easy to carry. Plus, when you buy the Zenbook S14, you get a leather case included. On the market, the similar case would cost around $40 to $50. In summary, the Zenbook S14 2024 is a great laptop and really worth considering. I believe we'll see more and more people with this laptop around soon. While the battery life isn't the best, it's good enough that you won't need to worry too much. Combine that with a significant design upgrade and notable boost in performance, especially in graphics. This year's Zenbook S14 is much more versatile, absolutely great for light tasks, but also capable of some casual gaming or graphic design when needed. And that's all I have to say about this Zenbook. But if you have any further questions, please let me know in the comment section, okay? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Now, thanks for watching. I'm Casper from ThinkView and see you guys next time.